Welcome to Mamahood After Trauma, where we stop pretending and heal out loud. I'm Emily Cleghorn, trauma survivor, cycle breaker, and mama rebuilding from the inside out. If you're ready to break cycles, trust yourself again, and rise without shame, you're in the right place. Let's go. Before we dive in, mama, if you're a mama healing from trauma and trying to parent differently, but you're not sure what support or next step is right for you, I totally understand. And that's why I've created something to help. Take my free Find Your Next Step to Calm and Healing quiz to discover where you are in your healing journey and what your next best step looks like. You'll find the link in the show notes below. Hello, Mama, and welcome to this episode of the Mamahood After Trauma podcast. I am thrilled that you have taken some time out of your busy mama schedule to tune in and listen to our conversation today. Today, we are honored to be joined by Rosemarie. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Emily.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Okay, me
Let's
too.
let's dive in. If you could introduce yourself a little bit and share how you came to be in the space, and then we'll go from there.
Mm, Okay. My name is Rosemarie Francis, and I'm a mom, a grandmother, an author, and a podcaster. I came to this space because as a divorced mom, I searched for ways to help myself, but also recognize that I wasn't alone in this single mom journey.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I started Solo Moms Talk podcast because I was inspired to do so based on a discovery group I was a part of.
Yeah, so share just a little bit of your journey and the challenges that you were facing as a single mom that led you to starting your podcast.
Okay, so my two youngest sons were 2 and 4,
Mm-hmm.
and I came on one day and our house was trash, like a burglar had gone through it. But it wasn't a burglar. My husband had walked away and abandoned me and our 2 sons. And it was a really devastating time for me. It was
Mm-hmm.
sudden, it was jarring, and I kind of lost it for a while. But through the support of friends who listened to me talk and yell and scream and get panic attacks, I was able to steady myself and find a way to help these 2 boys that was left in my care. When they were about 11 and 13, I believe I moved to New York City from Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
packed them up, took them out of school to accept a 2-week job. And while I was in New York, I attended a church, Brooklyn Tabernacle, and they had a discovery group called Be Transformed. And the discovery group allowed us, as I was in the group with about 13 women,
Mm-hmm.
and it allowed us to express our feelings, our emotions, what we're going through, and our life experiences. And I'm listening to the other women talk, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I wish I had this when I was, when my boys were younger. Because when they're helpless and you feel helpless, it's not a good situation, right?
No.
And I kept questioning and saying, God, can we get something like this? And it was like he whispered, so why don't you do it? You have all these ideas, you do it. And so I proceeded to find a way to develop a forum, I
Mm-hmm.
called it at the time, where moms raising children alone could express themselves freely without judgment. Sometimes we're not looking for to be fixed. We're looking for someone to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And so it took me 6 years to start, but after attending a Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within event, it kind of kicked me in the butt and I launched the show. Yeah, it did because it was it was aggravating because I was doing the research, but I was also scared. I was scared
Mm.
of putting myself out there. I
Mhm.
wondered who cared, who want to listen to some broken mom story, and it was just a lot of stuff, right?
Mhm.
But I finally did it.
Mhm.
And 250 episodes later, we're on a journey and it's been impactful and I really love what we're doing.
Yeah, it's really interesting to start a podcast like Solo Moms Talk or Mamahood After Trauma, because we're about 250 episodes in as well, and it is a journey.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know about you, but for me, um, doing having the conversations with my podcast guests and hearing their stories has been healing for me. Like it's healing for my listeners, I'm sure, but it's also healing for me. Have you also found that for yourself?
Yes, I have definitely found that for myself. The other thing that was really remarkable is that I could see myself in almost all my guest story. So
Mm-hmm.
they'd bring up a scenario, and I'm like, oh my God, that was me. For example, one lady, she got locked out with her young child. That happened to me, and so that cemented the idea for me that, as Les Brown says, our stories are similar. It's
Mm-hmm.
only the details that are different. And we are not alone. It sounds like a cliche, but we're not alone. We're
Mm-hmm.
all going through similar situations.
This episode is sponsored by The Rising Room. Hey, Mama, did you know the Mamahood After Trauma podcast is more than just something you listen to? Every week, we have conversations about trauma healing, triggers, emotional regulation, and breaking generational cycles. But I know listening is only one part of the journey. That's why I've created the Rising Room. It's a space where you can go deeper with the podcast through reflection prompts, monthly resources, and support designed to help you take what you're learning and apply it to your own healing journey. You can learn more and find out your next step through the link in the show notes. Now let's get back to our episode. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about your healing journey because being left abandoned by your husband with two small boys, that's that's a pretty traumatic event to have happen. Um, and it's not just as moms, we don't just deal with our own trauma. We're also dealing with the trauma that our children are going through in that type of situation. So
Mhm.
how did you navigate that journey with your two young boys, because I'm sure they didn't understand what was really going on at
No.
that age? So how did you navigate that?
It was tough.
Mhm.
It because the issue I didn't realize at the time was that I was broken. So this was like a pile on.
Mm.
If you see a multi-car pile up on the highway,
Mhm.
this was one off the juggernaut that piled on the trauma that was me, right? And so it was a difficult time because I was nursing the wound that was left by this abandonment because it
Mhm.
was abandonment. And it just reminded me of when my grandfather died when I was 14. And to bring meaning to that is that my mom left me when I was 9 months old with my grandfather. alone, and he raised me. And he
Mm-hmm.
died when I was 14.
Mm-hmm.
So this was abandonment all over again.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that is that this is the kind of relationship I had with my husband,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I was searching for family, and he represent that one pillar in my family that I never had. I never had a
Yeah.
father, I never had a mother. And so it brings a total new dimension to
Mm.
this scenario, right?
Yeah.
I haven't even started to deal with the fact that I got to figure out how to raise these two boys
Yeah.
because I'm still dealing with my stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize I was dealing with my stuff. And so when I had that panic attack and my friend had to call the ambulance, that's what that whole soup was. That
Yeah.
mess was me trying to figure out how
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to deal with life
Mm-hmm.
as a broken person,
Yeah.
right? But the other thing I did, and I have to say, I probably did it subconsciously. So I gave my life to Christ at 17, but my relationship with Christ has been as tumultuous as my relationship with my with my mom and my husband.
I'm laughing
So,
because I can resonate with that.
you know, and so but in this moment, I cried out to him
Mm-hmm.
because what am I gonna do? My back's against the wall.
Yeah.
And I remember that he cared, and I asked him, I pleaded with him, I begged him, despite what I've been through, this hurts. And now it's not only about me, it's about these two little boys.
Mm-hmm.
And he listened.
Yeah.
And one of the things I did is that when they were about maybe 5 and 7, could have been
Mm-hmm.
earlier, I decided to dedicate them. I brought them to church in front of a pastor and gave them back to God because I said, God, I can't do this. There's
Yeah.
no way. How am I going to do this? And I am grateful. I am thankful that I had the presence of mind to do that because in that action helped me to surrender their well-being to God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Knowing that having the understanding and the awareness to know that you were in over your head and you needed help from
Hmm.
someone far greater than we can find on earth. So,
Yeah.
what message would you like the single mom listening right now who is in the depths of it? What would you like her to hear today?
Mm. The usual saying, but I'm going to elaborate on it. You're not alone,
Mm-hmm.
right? You just not. It's not just you going through this. God feels your pain. God, Jesus know what it is like to be rejected.
Mm,
He knows, he's familiar with grief, right? And it doesn't really matter. It's hard to say this, but it doesn't matter if you believe it or not.
mm-hmm.
Jesus loves you. And he's just waiting for you to say, God, I can't handle this by myself. I
Mm-hmm.
need your help. And, he's so loving and kind. He's not this big bad bear waiting to do this to you.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing this. That's what he's doing. And he's doing this, waiting for you to come so he could comfort you,
Mm-hmm.
so you could comfort your children,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so this is probably the hardest part of my message because when you don't believe, it's a huge barrier, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that lack of belief stem from bad experience
Mm-hmm.
with church people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you, throw everything out you know or think you know about church people and focus on God. Focus on your creator because this is between you and him. And trust me, I've had the experience where he's taken me out of mess and dropped me into somewhere amazing so I could raise my kids, so I could manage to provide for them and keep them safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. How can our listeners connect with you further if they'd like to do so, Rosemarie?
Okay, thank you. So I'm building a new website called solomonstalk.com or solomonstalk.net. You could find me there. I'm starting a new devotional group where we could discuss about the devotional
Mm-hmm.
and also about the podcast episodes. So at solomonstalk.com, you could find me. You could connect with me on Instagram at solomonstalk as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I will make sure that there are links in the show notes that you can connect with Rosemarie if you're a single mom and you would like to connect with her. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Rosemarie, for being on the show today and for sharing your boldness and courage are shining lights
Thank you.
in
Thank you,
a
Emily.
place that really needs those shining lights because it's
Yes.
kind of dark in there. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate the conversation.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. Be sure to follow the podcast so new episodes land right in your feed each week. And if you're wondering what your next step toward calmer, more confident motherhood looks like, take my free Find Your Next Step to Calm and Confidence quiz found in the show notes below. Until next time, Mama, mend the past so you can mama in peace.